Hey everybody, I often say that you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. Well, I have some exciting news for you today. You can also tune a guitar, but you still can't tune a fish. If you want to know how to tune a guitar, here's how you do it. So on a standard 6-string guitar, you obviously have 6 strings. In order from lowest pitch to highest pitch, in other words, from thickest to thinnest on the strings, they are as follows. You have an E, an A, a D, a G, a B, and a high E. And here's how you tune them. And you can do this a few different ways, all of which I'm going to talk about in this video. But before you start on any of the way, you have to get a pitch for at least one of your strings. And what I like to do is I tune my low E string first. And I can do this by getting a pitch from an instrument that I know is in tune, and I conveniently have a piano here, so I'm going to play an E on the piano. I'm actually going to play the lower E. And that actually sounds like it's pretty well in tune. Let's check it again. And if you'll notice, I am using my finger to play the string instead of a pick, because when I'm tuning, I want as little extra sound as I can get. And if I use a pick, sometimes you get some extra slap on the strings that interferes with the ability to hear the note. Like that, for example. So I'm just going to use my fingertip very gently. And that sounds like it's in tune. If you're looking for a good app to use as a tuner, I like Piano Tuner, which is in the upper left of the phone here. As you can see, it's Piano Tuner without the I. This is the free version, which is all you need unless you really dislike ads. So what you do is you open the app, and you have to flip your phone on the side. I believe this works for both iOS devices and Android devices. And as you can see right now, it shows the pitch of whatever it hears. So right now it's trying to tune my voice, which is kind of hilarious. Anyway, I'm going to play a note on the guitar. I'm going to start with the low E because that's the pitch I want to get before I tune the rest of the guitar. And as you can see, it's a little bit what we call flat. It's lower than it should be. So I have to raise the pitch. So what I like to do is I like to play the note and let it ring as I turn the tuning peg. And right now, it's in the green. I'll do it one more time just to make sure we're locked in. The line should be centered on the note, and it should show in the green. One more time, just for good luck. And that's how you use a tuner app to tune a string on a guitar. So once I have that pitch, I can then either tune the other strings by using a tuner or a tuner app to check every single string, or by checking every string against an instrument like a piano or something else that I know is in tune, or I can do it using what we call relative pitch, which has to do with the relationships of the notes to themselves and to each other. And there's two main ways you can do this. You can do this by checking adjacent strings on certain frets. So the next string above the low E is an A, which is a perfect fourth above E. And what that means is that it's the fourth note of an E scale. So E, F, G, A, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know that it's actually F sharp and G sharp, but I'm just worrying about letter names at this point. Also, you could look at it this way. So E is 5 half steps below A, or A is 5 half steps above E. That's a perfect fourth. So if this is E on the piano, 1 half step, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're at A. So that's 5 half steps above E. It's also a perfect fourth. And half steps translate to a guitar as follows. Basically, every fret you go down, you increase the pitch by a half step. So if you want to increase it by 5 half steps, you go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the 5th fret. So if I fret the low E string on the 5th fret, it should sound like an A. And that's pretty close. The open A string itself is a little bit lower than the fretted E string. So I'm going to use my tuning peg here to gently tune it up after it's ringing. Now let's check it. Sounds pretty good to me. Another way I can check this is I know that a perfect fourth sounds like Here Comes the Bride. So I'm going to play Here Comes the Bride on these two adjacent strings. Sounds good to me. So now that we know the E and the A are in tune, I'm going to go on to the D string. And A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, also a perfect fourth. Also 5 half steps. So I can check the tuning of the D string by fretting the A string on the 5th fret and then playing the D string open. So you can hear the D string's a little bit low, or a little bit flat, as we like to say. That's better. And now I'm going to do the Here Comes the Bride check on that. Sounds good to me. Okay, D to G, same thing. D, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can use the same tuning system. Sounds good to me. It passed the Here Comes the Bride test. It also passes the 5th fret test. Here's where things get interesting. G to B, G, A, B, is not a perfect fourth because B is not the 4th note of a G scale. So it is actually a major third. G, A, B, 1, 2, 3. And Here Comes the Bride does not work on a major third. So what we can do for this string is we can count the half steps between G and B to see how many half steps there are in a major third. So I'm going to find a G here, okay? Going to count the half steps. This is G, 1 half step, 2, 3, 4, and I'm at B. So because a major third has 4 half steps instead of 5, we're only going to go 4 frets down when we check the tuning of the B string against the G. So here's the open G, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that G sounds like a B, we're going to see if it matches what the B string sounds like when it's played open. Woo, woof, not quite. So the open B string is too low, so we're going to raise the tuning gently using the tuning peg. And now we're going to check it. Sounds much better to me. Another trick you can do to check the B string is to play the D, the B, and the G in that order. And if they're in tune, it'll sound like the NBC News theme. Sounds pretty good. The D sounds like it might be a hair low, but I'm going to check it again. Sounds generally right to me. So when I finish tuning, I'm just going to check the D again, okay? So we have one string left. It's an E, and that's above the B. So B to E is a perfect fourth. B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can use the Here Comes the Bride test for this. Sounds pretty good. Just to be safe, I'm going to check it on the 5th fret because perfect fourth is 5 half steps up. Sounds good to me. Now, I'm going to go through and check all the strings against each other. Starting on the low E. We'll do the Here Comes the Bride check. Now to the D string. That one I'm not as convinced, so I'm going to do the 5th fret check. Sounds a little bit low, so I'm going to raise it just a hair. Now I'm going to do Here Comes the Bride again. Much better. D to G, Here Comes the Bride. D, B, G, NBC News. And then B to E. Now I'm going to try playing a chord with all the strings to see how in tune we are. That sounds nice, my friends. Let's do some chords just for fun. My friends, we are in tune, and this proves that you can tune a guitar, but you still can't tune a fish unless you adjust the scales. So just to review, you can tune a guitar by matching the pitch on each string with an instrument that you know is in tune, like a piano or something else. You can use a tuning app to check each string. You can tune one string, I like to do the low E, and then use a combination of Here Comes the Bride, the NBC News theme, and the 5th or 4th fret check depending on the string to make sure they're in tune, and that's done through using relative pitch. So friends, have a great rest of your day. See you next time.